What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the No Hope Podcast, where we want the world to know that there is hope. This is my beautiful wife, Katie Faye.
What's up, you guys? We're so happy that you're here, and we'd like to welcome you to episode 15 of the No Hope Podcast.
Let's go.
Yeah.
I'm excited for this one,
Me
too.
too. I'm super excited.
So we're going to do something special on this episode. We're just going to kind of talk about no idea and no hope, the vision that God has given us, and some of the things that we're passionate about, and just kind of go back and forth with each other. I did want to talk about one thing that will kind of be the theme of this entire episode, and that's going to be purpose. And I think it's so powerful. But one of the things I was thinking about earlier is, there was a time in my life when I was really perplexed because I didn't really know what my purpose was. And that's what I wanted to start off with is, like, for you, was there ever, a time in your life where you just really didn't know exactly what your purpose was or have a sense of direction around that area?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, let's just jump right into it. So I started performing in shows at 17. So I was a professional synchronized swimmer. That's where I met Johnny. And I performed for a summer, and then I stopped right after. And right after I stopped, I actually just felt so lost. I felt just it was really actually a really, really hard time in my life. I felt really just dead inside, and I felt purposeless. I felt lost. I actually fell into a really deep depression, and it was probably the hardest time of my life. And I feel like for me, I always love to have something on the horizon, something that I'm creating, something that I can look forward to. And at that time, I wasn't looking forward to anything. I was trying to go to real estate school, and I was in this relationship, and it was just, I was lost. I was so lost, and it was really hard, but it was a defining and shaping moment for my life.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because I feel like that's part of the adventure is you're going to do a lot of seeking. And that's something that I had to do. I was there was a lot of different things I was good at. I was performing in shows with you. So there was a lot of stuff, but I didn't really have it dialed in on exactly what my purpose is.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's part of the process. And then I remember I was excited at one point in my life because I was I realized that I'm in this phase of my life where I'm seeking, and I really am not sure exactly what my purpose is exactly, but I'm kind of looking for it. And so then I got excited because I was attentive. I'm constantly, consciously aware of would it be that? Or, I'm really good at this. Is that what my purpose is? And so I was kind of going through that phase. But yeah, I know. And what's interesting, and you'll probably agree, is that oftentimes what broke you is a really good place to start for looking for your purpose. And so that's 3 different things that we're going to give you in order for you to help you find your purpose. And number 1 of them is look to what broke you. And oftentimes through that pain, you'll discover your purpose.
Yeah, absolutely. And I would have to say that definitely going through that painful time, I was using, not lots of crazy substances, but I was drinking a lot, and I was just completely lost. And then once I decided, I clicked, I made a decision. I was going to go back into shows, and just a flip, a light switch flipped. Hello.
Yep.
And it was something changed in me. And I think that when we are given a guiding light and a divine purpose, even if it's a goal, even if it's a small goal or a massive goal or something like that, I think that does something to our brains as humans to help us just to get the wheel rolling. It was funny. I watched this TikTok the other day, and it talked about how Russians or Europeans, they don't get depressed because they're always doing something. They're always moving forward. They're you're not depressed. Get up, get outside. And I think that is incredibly relevant because it's you could be having a funky day or whatever, and you're just I just want to lay in bed. That was me 20 minutes ago. And I was Johnny's we gotta go. We gotta do this. And I'm makes you feel so much better.
Yeah,
You feel so
absolutely.
good.
Yeah, definitely. And so, yeah, and that's, I mean, it's so true because oftentimes, things that you struggle with, you overcome. And one of the things that we love, Ed Milet says all the time is like, when you overcome an area of your life where you used to struggle and you have victory in that, that now qualifies you to help people who are struggling where you once were. And I was telling Katie earlier today, sometimes when we're in the midst of those struggles and those just challenging times, we often say, why do I have to deal with this particular struggle? And I remember often I would say that with my struggle with drugs and alcohol, like, why did I have to have this struggle? Couldn't have been anything else, at the time. It's like, come on. And, but then I look back and I realized, that God was preparing me for my purpose through that pain.
Yeah.
And it's so incredible because you look back and now I can relate to other people who are struggling with drinking or drugs or whatever it is. And I've been there, right? So I can help them get to the other side.
Yeah.
And I'm super passionate about it too, because sobriety is such an incredible gift. But do you remember kind of like a time in your life where God gave you more of a sense of direction as far as your purpose? Because I feel like our purpose can kind of evolve throughout seasons.
Absolutely.
But I feel like it's important to kind of have like a really good idea on, your purpose just in general. Like for us, it's helping people discover what they're passionate about, what their purpose is, and live a life of authenticity. And I think that we are equipped to be able to help people do that because at one point, we were very inauthentic.
Yeah, we were like the complete opposite. And I think it's so powerful when you come out of that, either if it's inauthenticity or purposeless or just have no passion, just completely depleted at all, because it just changes your perspective, because now you can have empathy. You have empathy for people who are experiencing that. You have a deep knowing of who you are from the unknown, from like the openness and the rawness of going through that. And I feel like for me, I really struggled with worry and comparison for a really long time, and I hated it. And if I felt like I was trapped, and a lot of times people can really feel trapped in their own mind and unable to really break free from that. But God's like, I'm not going to break you free from that until I teach you something, until you're able to go through and help someone else, just like what you were saying, Johnny. And I think that when we break free from those chains, that it is our duty to go out and share what we've learned and help people along the way. And I think that my purpose is to be of service, to help people, to bring healing, to bring people closer into a relationship with their creator.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because I didn't have a close relationship for a while. I did when I was little, and then I didn't for a long time, and then I did again. And it's like, oh man, it's so much better when you do have a good relationship. You're like, oh, so good.
Absolutely. So yeah, that's number one. So as far as like, if you're not really sure like what your purpose is, and you don't really have a sense of direction, then look to what broke you. Or maybe it's you're in the midst of a struggle and you're struggling with something that you want to overcome. That could tie into your purpose down the road. And then number two is follow the energy, because if you look to what lights you up, like, so Katie and I, when we were performing for shows in SeaWorld, so we were doing what we loved every single day. We got to wake up early in the morning and, start training, do shows, and it was awesome. So when we would travel or when we'd go out, even like to, river walk, we would ask people, hey, let me ask you a question. If you could get paid to do anything in the world, what would it be? And the reason why we asked them that is because that's usually probably something they're passionate about, and it would tie into their purpose. And that's why we created No Idea, because Katie and I would ask people that all the time. And what's interesting is we would ask so many people, if you could get paid to do anything in the world, what would it be? And you know what most people would say? I have no idea. And they wouldn't know. They didn't even think about it. They were either so caught up in, their circumstances, or just going to school and getting a job and going to college, the indoctrination, that they never really stopped and thought about it. And so Katie and I, like a light bulb, we said, what if we named our company no idea, K-N-O-W. And we want people to know the idea of their life, right? And so that's really where it began back in 2009, right?
And we love the play on words too. We wanted people to be like, no idea. What? You have a company called No Idea? Like, yes. And we truly do. We want people to know the idea of their life, know who they are created to be, what their purpose is, what they're passionate about, and ultimately reveal their most authentic self. Because when all of us are living authentically, it's like our body is harmonized. When we're all trying to be one person, it's like only one limb is working, and you have legs and arms and eyes and all these beautiful breathing things that we're created to be. And in this society, when we're stuck in comparison, or we're stuck in worry, or we're stuck in substance, or these different things, we are not fulfilling our purpose because we're not looking within to become our most divine and authentic self.
Yeah, absolutely. You know? And I think going through that too is kind of what gave us and here's what's interesting. We went from performing and traveling all around the world to an incredibly challenging season of our life that we went through with my struggle with drinking and drugs, and, you know, Katie fervently praying, but, you know, we were engaged. And so that's got to be hard when you're in love with somebody, but they're making these retarded choices and you're just like, what is wrong with you? But that was part of our purpose. It was, you know, we were being refined by the fire, and I'm so grateful that was my struggle. I am so grateful that I struggled with drugs and alcohol, because so many people struggle with that and they need hope, right? And so if I made it through, anybody else can. And I've heard people say that all the time, like, if I can do it, so can you. And it's so true. Nobody is better or, you know, worse than anyone. We're all human and we're trying to do our best. Yeah. And so it's time for you to know the idea of your life.
Yeah, absolutely. And I have to say that time of refinement, I like to think of authenticity as an onion, right? And you may have heard that analogy before, but you have to really start peeling off all this indoctrination, all of the things that society has put on you, all of the things that generationally have been put on you. And you have to start unpeeling all of those different things in those layers. So that time when Johnny was really going through all of his struggles, I was working on myself as well and trying to figure out all of these things and why I thought a certain way, or why I did things a certain way, and all of that. And I had to really hone in and have this time of just being alone. And there's nothing, I think, more powerful than you being alone, than you having that time of just blocking out the world and really stepping in and tuning into God's voice and what he wants you to do. And in that is where you really, really find divine purpose. That like when you have a relationship with God, with your creator, you are going to find some gold, some gems in there, and really get clarity on what your purpose is, because we're just starting. This right here is just the tip of the iceberg. And I love that we have so many things that we want to push out into the world and push out into community and push out to help make an impact. And this is just like the introduction to it. Life's just getting started. Exactly. And so many times you can look back and you'd be like, man, we were doing all this and we were doing all that, and it was so amazing. And God's like, you haven't even seen your best days. Yeah. You know, you haven't even seen them yet. And I think that's a beautiful thing to hold on to hope. If you're doing the right things and you're stepping in the right direction and you're continuing to do the right thing, just keep going. Just keep going in that direction, and all things are going to work out for your good. And I think that's, I have to hold on to it, especially in the grind right now. You know, we're grinding, and it's just like, just keep going. Just keep going. Just keep trusting God that all things work out for your good. You know?
But when you have your sense of direction with the purpose, like kind of have that and the vision, right? And so if you're kind of at a blank slate, it's kind of a cool place to be. It's exciting, right? But if you can get, like, you know, discover your why, discover your purpose, and, you know, have a game plan and a vision for your future, dude, it is an incredible adventure. And also, community is so powerful, you know, and that's one of the things that Katie and I, you know, we've read lots of books. We're a part of a lot of different communities, and just the opportunity within communities, like one of the communities that Katie's in, for Forex trading, it is like incredible.
Yeah.
Just the opportunities that God gives you by being connected with like-minded individuals. It's so powerful.
It's
And that's
so powerful.
one of the things that we're doing with our community is the entrepreneurship and people getting sober. And that's what it's all about. It's about each other becoming better versions, and we help each other grow.
Absolutely.
Which is amazing.
And I think one key to touch on is passion. Many people say, do what you're passionate about. Oh, what are you passionate about? All of these things. And we have to remember what the root of passion is. And it's, what are we willing to suffer for? Like, truly, you know, people who work out, people who do sports, they are passionate about it because they are suffering for it. Johnny would come up missing a tooth from doing a dive. He would come up, would hurt his back. He'd be bleeding. He'd be doing all this stuff. And I'm like, bro, what are you doing? He was willing to suffer for it because he was passionate about it. And it's beautiful to see people wrapped up in their passions, because a lot of times they don't even realize it because they're enjoying themselves so damn much.
Yeah, I wonder if Brian or Nate or maybe Mark has the video where I was learning a flying front and kind of learning how to sit in my pike, and I over rotated. I knocked out these 2 teeth. I spit them out. And there's a video of me talking like a redneck. It's so funny. I just go back up, and I did another dive with my teeth knocked out.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's so true, man. You know, if you're passionate about it, you're willing to suffer for sure.
Suffer for it. You know, people think about people working out. They get there at 5 a.m. They're at the gym. They're cranking it out. You know, I mean, their endorphins start kicking in after a couple months, but they are suffering in the beginning, right?
Yep, absolutely. Okay, so if you're trying to discover what your purpose is, so number 1, look for what broke you. Pain often leads to purpose. Number 2 is follow the energy, right? So whatever you're passionate about is usually a good direction to go in. And then number 3 is take action before you're ready, right? Clarity through action, because, you know, you're going to fail, right? And you have to fail. That's part of learning and growing. And I love adversity and I love failure, because I know that tied to that is growth, and I'm addicted to growth, right? So if I'm uncomfortable or something makes me nervous, I've now like developed this habit to where I'm like, oh, this is weird. I'm getting a little nervous. I better do it, because that means, I'm going to lean into it, because I'm going to have growth on the other side of this. Yeah. You know?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Having that like kind of like heartbeat fear, and you're like, oh God, and you just do it scared. You do it when you're not ready. You do it when you just dive in. You know, you dive into it, because on the other side of it, you're going to be swimming. You're like, oh my God, I did it. And you're going to be feeling so good. You're going to be feeling so full of life. And I think that we all need just more life to feel, you know, the goodness and the energy of something new and something that we're passionate about.
Yeah, you know? Absolutely.
You know that feeling? It's like, I don't know if it's like travel, or if it's like something, and you're like,
yeah, I love it. But yeah, so that's, I mean, we just wanted to kind of share that, just a quick one today, just about no idea and no hope and what we're passionate about, and just encourage you that the vision that God has given you, it should scare the heck out of you, right? Like,
and get you super excited. Not
to
like
where you're
terrified, not scared, but like,
oh my gosh, this is huge. How am I going to be able to accomplish that?
Who can I tell about this? Because they're going to think I'm nuts.
Right, exactly. You know? But also you have to be careful about what you share, you know, with other people. You guys got to make sure that, you know, you pray about it and say, hey, you know, is this okay for me to share with, you know, this person or whatever? Because
you don't want to cast your pearls before swine.
Yeah.
Right?
And also too, some things are like, you want to build it and then let them know once you build it, you know, at least the foundation, and then you can grow it from there. So, but what else did you want to talk about?
That's it.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys so much for joining us for episode 15. We are pumped for what the future holds. I'm excited. And don't forget, good is around every single corner. Go out there and absolutely crush it this week. Break some records. And God has incredible plans for your future.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Boom.